Hey everybody, welcome to part 27 of our Clone Wars rewrite. We are currently rewriting the character of Ahsoka Tano, and in this video we'll be focusing on Season 3, Episode 19, Counterattack, where Ahsoka learns that Anakin shares some of her doubts about the Jedi, and we showcase how she handles working with an unlikable ally. Thanks for joining us!
Hey everyone, just a heads up, if you want to see the full version of this analysis, where we react to more of the episode wherein we address the recurring issue of how the Clone Wars wastes so much of its allotted time, and additionally discuss the problems with Echo's death scene, you can find it over on Patreon. Link in the description. Also, we somehow ended up with almost 15 minutes worth of bloopers and outtakes, so if you're looking for a good laugh, again, go check out the full version on Patreon. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Okay, we are rolling.
Cool. Do you want me to try to remember which of the argument against Ahsoka points actually apply to this episode?
Oh, right. Yeah, because we lumped this arc all together.
I think this falls under this episode. She acts openly disgusted toward Tarkin and Anakin, acting morally superior to them. After effectively appointing herself as scout, Ahsoka then completely and utterly fails at the simple task, showing herself to be apparently incapable of spotting droids just a few feet away from her. After Ahsoka self-righteously shakes her head at Anakin, he then rewards her disrespect by giving her the lead. After having to be reminded of the plan by Anakin, Ahsoka, after carrying it out, proudly sticks her nose up at her master. We don't have a stupid quote lined up.
Oh no.
How about we never really grow up, we only learn how to act in public. I feel like Ahsoka still needs to learn that. So it even applies, to the content. See, there you go. Ba 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 ba. I cannot attest to whether this person, whoever they are, actually said this thing. This is the internet, folks. Take it with a grain of salt.
Everything is lies. What the heck?
That droid very clearly saw them, given how close it was following them.
Also, there's no way it couldn't have seen Anakin. Also, like, how the heck did they know it was coming?
Well, I mean, like, Anakin's supposed to be in the rear in order to be watching for anything that's, like, following them, but he had to have been in front of them in order to have climbed up there before the thing could see him, and then, obviously, it would have been able to see the rest of them. And so it should have turned around and gone and reported, or like just transmitted a report saying that it had found them long before Anakin cut it to shreds.
Yeah, no, this makes absolutely no sense. Wonderful, yay.
It's TCW, it's the best.
Yeah, yes.
I am beginning to admire the design of this fortress. It's rather formidable to evade.
How can you admire such a horrible place?
Ah, you reveal your short-sightedness. This ordeal only demonstrates how effective facilities like the Citadel are. Pity it ended up in separatist hands, and not ours.
He has a point. All right, Snips, I need you to lead the group.
She's already been leading the group.
Tunnel.
Where are you going?
Obi-Wan's not here, so someone has to protect our flank.
I thought...
I guess it's a good thing I came along after all.
Someone please punch her in her smug face.
Okay, so I kind of got mixed up. I thought that moment had already happened, but like I guess he was leading and then hopped up there, and then she like took over leading because she was looking around being like, hold up, don't go yet, okay, now we can go. So like it looked like she was already leading the group. And now he's put her in charge of leading the group, and so that he can protect their flank, which he was already apparently doing because he was hanging out above them waiting for the thing that was following them. Like it feels backwards.
Yeah, no, that entire scene was stupid. The only thing that wasn't stupid was what Tarkin had to say and Anakin agreeing with him.
But then, of course, the narrative uses Ahsoka to frame their perspective as bad.
Yeah, we were just talking about this in the collaboration we just did with Theo and Alpha, where like they literally tell you how to feel. They tell the audience how to feel by using a specific character to frame everything that's happening around them. And it's like, let me decide for myself. Thank you. Because Tarkin was absolutely right, and Anakin was absolutely right to agree with him.
From a strategic point of view, yeah. But either which way, so part of what we're trying to build up here is Ahsoka kind of learning how to work with Tarkin, someone who's unlikable. Because we already kind of established in our version of the last episode that he was like, hey, no, leave the other Jedi behind, right? So she has a reason to dislike him already. I would be tempted to keep her remark of like, how can you admire such a horrible place? But I would change her like her tone. So much of it is just her tone. And I've been watching more behind the scenes videos and things like that. And Dave Filoni was in the driver's seat for the voice acting, directing, like, as far as I can tell. I can't say for certain that he always did it, but it's clear that he did it a lot. So he was the one in charge of making sure that, like, she said it like that, and he's like, yeah, that's good, we're gonna go with that one, instead of being like, hey, can we try that again, slightly different tone, right? Like, you're not trying to disdain your ally here, like maybe just a little more curiosity or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it absolutely comes off as condescending. So it would be much better for make her
I would do
mostly
like
shocked,
like,
but with a strain of curiosity underlying that. Do we want to fix the stupidity with the droid?
I think the only way to improve it would be to kind of like put the bit where he puts her in the lead so he can protect their flank, like put that sooner in the episode. But I don't think that would flow very well. Like if you had the droid further away so that it couldn't obviously see them. Now, I guess if you changed the landscape a bit.
Maybe they hear the droid.
I was gonna say, sorry, I got distracted as I started playing through the scene further in my head to see if it would work. Yeah, they hear the droid, like, so they're creeping along the wall, and then Anakin's suddenly like, whoa, 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 and then you can hear it, and so then he like sneaks to the back and like have them already have come through that gap, and then as it comes through the gap, then he slices it. And maybe Ahsoka's kind of like, he was in the lead and Ahsoka was in the back, but then like he came back to do that, and he's like, you know what, how about you take the lead, I'll cover our flank. And she's not a smug prick about it.
We did have her be a little uncertain of herself about being brought along on this mission, so maybe like a split second's hesitation, she's like, yes, master.
That sounds good. I like that. And then as she kind of reaches the front, Tarkin makes his comment. She says the same thing, but with a slightly different tone. And then he responds the same, but then we have the problem that Anakin's not there. You know what? We could have one of the clones say he has a point. Why does it have to be Anakin? Well, I guess they're trying to set up this thing that him and Anakin see eye to eye. We could just have Anakin shout out from the rear, he has a plan!
There you go. Perfect.
Nothing wrong with that.
Maybe we just switch
Another option.
And have that conversation before they go around the corner.
It's a less dramatic opening having a conversation like that rather than a, oh, we've got to stop the droid from finding us.
I think it'd be fine.
It'd be fine. I'm just mentioning pros and cons here. At this point, I think it's fine to start it with. Like, if it was the very first scene of the episode after the narration, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's open with something dramatic. But we're 4 minutes in, we can have a scene that doesn't open dramatically. Yeah, no, the where are you going and I guess it's a good thing I came along after all would be cut. And obviously we would remove her what look toward
and
Anakin
the dirty,
when he
the
says
dirty look.
yeah, the dirty look toward Anakin when he says that Tarkin has a point. Like, that's obviously going to be cut. If anything, I would have her register more surprise with him than she did with Tarkin.
I was actually wondering, like, maybe we should have her acknowledge, like, partially acknowledge that, like, he has a point from a strictly strategic view.
Right, so have her respond instead of just falling silent and sticking her hands on her hips.
Like, I would genuinely have her say, like, yeah, from a strategic point of view, but what about a moral one?
So he makes his comment, ooh, it's, I'm beginning to admire this. It's rather formidable. It's like, how can you admire such a horrible place? And then he's, oh, you're short-sighted. This demonstrates how effective this is. Pity. And then when he says, pity it ended up in separatist hands, not ours, then I would maybe kind of be taken aback. And then Anakin's like, hey, he has a point. And then she could say it to him, like, from a strategic perspective, but what about a moral one? But then Anakin doesn't answer. He's like, either he just says, we can discuss that later, or he kind of cuts her off and he's like, hey, I need you to leave the group. I gotta cover our flank, right? Like, yeah, this isn't the time to have this moral discussion, right?
Wax philosophical.
I don't like the idea of him cutting her off, actually, because then it's like, kind of feels...
just have him say, we'll discuss this later.
And away they go.
I am concerned that the Jedi have elected this child to lead the group.
I've said with her many times. I trust her, Captain.
Why?
I just realized. Technically, that falls under the Mary Sue trait where, the people talk about her to praise her.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Right? She's in the scene, yes, but that conversation is taking place, like, behind her back, right? Like, as if she's not able to hear it. And it's literally just there to be... Tarkin is bad. Because he doesn't like Ahsoka. That's how you can tell that he's bad. But then we're gonna remind you that Ahsoka's actually like super great.
What if we actually had Ahsoka overhear it?
And then
actually
she has to be humble.
I like that idea. Because she's already kind of doubting herself, and then Tarkin brings that up, and maybe you can see, like, it hits her because it's basically just feeding into her doubts. But then she hears Rex respond.
This is right before the scene where she runs into the dead end. Do we want to have it that she legitimately forgets?
I'm not sure I'd want to have her forget, because I feel like that would make her kind of look stupid.
I can understand that. Especially if she's all nervous about this, you'd think she'd be like taking extra care.
Yeah, if anything, she would have over-prepared.
Dead end.
See, this is also stupid because Rex should know the plan.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Rex know the plan?
Yeah, like what the... Yeah. It definitely makes him look stupid.
And then it's like, okay, where's Anakin? Why isn't he doing his job?
Yeah, like, this is all so stupid.
Why didn't you blow the wall? That part of the plan was your job.
No, it wasn't, because she wasn't part of the plan.
If Master Plo really assigned you to this mission, he would have briefed you on the plan.
I love how he's absolutely right, but they never follow through on that.
Nope.
Yeah, just throw bombs towards your allies there. And that smug...
Someone slap her in her smug face. And then punch her and kick her, for good measure.
So violent. What if... Like, we'll fix the dialogue in a minute. Let's structure the scene first. What if they blow the wall and that's what attracts the droids?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So... yeah, we have Tarkin say, oh, I'm concerned that the Jedi have elected this child to lead the group, and then we kind of like show that Ahsoka overheard him, but how would we have Rex respond? Would we keep it like, because again, it's one of those things.
I would keep it as is. Maybe that kind of prompts Ahsoka to smile a little, takes away some of her tension. Because like when you can see like someone believes in you and someone has your back, it kind of gives you a bit of a confidence boost.
Maybe we have Tarkin kind of turn up his nose at like, okay, well, you're just a clone. So Rex is like, well, Anakin put her in charge, right? Like, so he trusts her too, right? Like something like that.
Could be.
And so it's like
Rex,
it kind of adds
Rex
to
an
the
ARC trooper. Because I mean, like the clones. Well, not in this show, but in the prequels, the clones are bred to obey, right? So Tarkin, it would make sense for Tarkin to kind of brush it off because, like, you're a clone, dude. You are literally created to unquestioningly trust in your superiors.
No, Rex is an ARC trooper. I think I was getting him kind of mixed up with the other troopers that we kind of follow, and they get promoted during the course of TCW to ARC troopers. But I think Rex starts and ends as an ARC trooper.
Okay.
But he just goes from captain to commander.
I'm actually pretty sure he's captain for the entirety of the show, which is kind of weird that he never gets promoted.
So technically he's the same rank as Tarkin right now then, but he's a clone. And so that would be the difference for Tarkin. And like I would kind of keep that like pragmatic kind of air that Tarkin has. Like he is kind of snubbing them, but not in a malicious way so much as a intellectual way kind of. And then maybe at that point, because when Tarkin snubs Rex, like especially after Rex just backed her up, I would want Ahsoka, she doesn't interrupt, but I'd want the camera to be showing her face while we're hearing this conversation. You see her reaction go from like, oh dang, like maybe he's right, and then she smiles as Rex is like saying nice things about her, and then he snubs Rex and she's like, oh, you did not. And then as Rex is saying, well, like Anakin put her in charge, like I think he knows what he's doing, then I would have her like come to Rex and be like, Captain Rex, bring forth the explosives. I don't know, right? Basically, she cuts the conversation short before Tarkin can respond again, right? And she's kind of like trying to show that she's reliable, and right, so she's being very like, not like now you listen to me everybody kind of in charge, but like like she tries to give off that air of confidence, right? Like, yes, I'm in charge here, like I know how to do my job, I can do it well. And I'd almost want her to like throw in a little snub at Tarkin, just like, hey, you better but you better stand to the side, like some sort of snub that's just be like, here, can you just like get out of the way, please?
Yes, I would love that.
She's just like, oh, can you move out of the way, please? You might want to stand back. Like, something like that. And then I would have Rex right before he hits the button and be like, they'll be honest in a second when I, click this button, or like, like a nice one-liner. They recognize that this is going to attract something.
Yeah. And
so, sure enough, the explosion happens, the dust clears, and then I wouldn't have the clankers come because they're slow. It's like, why would they be patrolling? But like the assassin droids with the shields, I'd have them immediately show up. And then, like, because obviously they wouldn't use all of their bombs for that. So then I would maybe have it that, like, Ahsoka and Anakin are kind of like holding them off, and then she maybe gets the idea that Rex, roll a bomb, and then he pulls out another bomb and throws it, does the same trick that she does, right? So she gets the moment of thinking it, but Rex gets them. Like I love it when you see teamwork, rather than one person getting everything, and then you don't have any stupid drama, but you still get the action, you still get some tension, because maybe there's like this tense moment after the bomb goes off where they're all kind of like looking around like, okay, where are they gonna come from? Was like, so you get that moment of tension, and then I'm just wondering how to have it. Maybe having Anakin be like, oh, there they are, or like maybe Anakin's still hidden, and so then Ahsoka's like, where's Anakin? But yeah, you have this moment of tension. You have this action moment. You have a little bit of drama because of what you got going on between Tarkin and Ahsoka there, right? But then, yeah, you've got teamwork and you've got other things, like positive things.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I hate how, like, instead of seeing teamwork and friendship, we're just seeing them undercutting each other and falling and, like, this faux banter, which is actually them just like insulting each other most of the time. And it's like, can't we get some positive moments to show that these people are actually friends and like...
No, that's too much to ask
team?
for.
This pipe leads up to the top of the ridge, where R2 will pick us up and get us out of here. There's the hatch. Let's go, everyone in.
So Anakin's basically like not at the flank anymore, but Ahsoka's still leading the group.
Yeah, I did find
this
that
version,
a little strange.
This version bothers me, but in our version, I would just put Anakin back at the flank. Maybe give her Anakin's lines about like, oh, this tube leads to the top of the ridge, bro. Right? And she's still kind of in that like, yes, I am a confident and capable leader kind of like vibe that she's like going for.
Right, makes sense.
Though I would have her say that as they're approaching the tube, and then Anakin, comes back to the front and does his bit of, oh, there's the hatch, and then opens it up. Let's go, everyone in. Like, I'd give him all that still.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really have a problem.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think.
It's mostly good.
Yeah, I mean, I always hate her face, but, it's a given that we would change a lot of her animation, I think.
Definitely showboating.
Showboating.
The boating of the show.
I would either have both her and Anakin doing it, or she's just climbing the ladder like everybody else.
Yeah, I would just have her climbing the ladder like everyone else.
Yeah, I don't get the spider monkey act, other than to showboat.
Yep.
It's like, I can understand the visual appeal there, and like, making it look cool for the kids, which again, there's always the option of having both her and Anakin doing it.
I think it's just weird though. There's no real reason for it. Literally, like, just have them climbing the ladder and then you cut away pretty much immediately. Yeah, and again, what is she doing up there?
How much longer are we going to wander through this?
Just have her walking normally like everyone else. Why does she have to be so special?
Or you could have Anakin be like, hey, scout ahead. And then she jumps up on there to give her a better view. And then she's kind of jogging so that she's like getting ahead of them.
But it's like, if you have Anakin tell her like scout ahead and then he's down here acting like completely unconcerned, like he doesn't actually think there's any threat there, to me I don't think that would really add up. Plus, on the slim chance that we want Ahsoka to participate in this conversation somehow. Because we do want her
having more interaction with Tarkin.
And also, is it later that they have that conversation with Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan about the Jedi being in the war? Because this conversation here kind of feeds into that.
That happens in the next episode.
Yeah.
When they're all back together again.
Yeah. So it'd either be good to have her participate in the conversation or at least listening in and then kind of having a bit of an exchange with Anakin afterward. Because we did have him say in the last episode, like, we'll talk about that later. So they could pick that up again here.
Captain Tarkin, haven't you learned to trust me by now?
You have earned my trust, General Skywalker. But my faith in your comrades is still lacking. The Jedi Code prevents them from going far enough to achieve victory, to do whatever it takes to win.
Are you hearing the music in the background?
Yeah, it's all like ominous and it's like, what?
He's a bad guy saying bad things.
Oh my god. No nuance. Absolutely no nuance in this show at all.
The very reason why peacekeepers should not be leading a war. Have I offended you?
No. I've also found that we sometimes fall short of victory because of our methods.
Well, I see we agree on something.
So earlier he was kind of talking about strategy. It's about victory. It's about... So I guess the two conversations are effectively the same. But I'm not sure how we would insert Ahsoka into that dialogue other than just like having her listen to it and react.
At this point, is she familiar with that side of Anakin? That he kind of doubts the Jedi's approach in the war?
What did we have her say in the Brain Invaders arc?
I think it wasn't so much related to him doubting the Jedi's approach in the war, but more so he can go to some pretty extreme lengths.
He's willing to do whatever it takes.
Because we have, like, in the past already, we've kind of been showing little hints of doubt Ahsoka has in her role as a Jedi.
Yeah, because if anything, kind of hearing that Anakin has the same doubts would, in a way, be kind of relieving for her. Like, I'm not alone.
It's kind of relieving and concerning at the same time because, like, yeah, on the one hand, it's like, oh, I'm not the only one who thinks this. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, that kind of gives some credence to my doubts. Gives them a little more weight, a little more plausibility, and that's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. Especially because she looks up to Anakin so much, right?
Yeah. I would kind of have her look surprised, but it could necessarily be that Anakin isn't usually very forthcoming with that viewpoint. So she might be surprised simply because he's choosing to share it with Tarkin.
Sorry, I'm reading over the transcript here. Tarkin's like, ooh, how long are we going to wander through this tunnel in the dark? And it's like, until we get to where we need to go. Like, we're going to wander in here until we get to the pipeline exit.
Yeah, true. Would we want to change Tarkin's line to
Because
make it a little more sense?
I was gonna say, like, because Ahsoka comes back to them and she's like, oh, I think I found a way out. It's like, is it, oh, I don't know, the pipeline exit? Like, again, this, like, in this version, this is kind of showing obvious that she doesn't actually know where she's going and what she's doing. And again, this would be a perfect time for Anakin to follow up on what he's already asked her about, like, hey, why don't you seem to know the plan if you were assigned to this mission? It's a perfect opportunity for that, but nope. But it's like, yeah, Tarkin's like, how long are we gonna wander through this tunnel in the dark? It just seems like such a forced way to start the conversation.
Yeah.
But because then Anakin's answer is, haven't you learned to trust me by now? What does that have to do with my question? You know what? A perfect way to start this would be to, like, because we ended that last conversation with Rex being like, well, Anakin obviously trusts her capabilities. Maybe you should too, right? Like, and so then maybe have him kind of approach Anakin like, you know, I'm surprised you've put this child in charge. And then Anakin could be like, what, you don't trust my judgment? And then Tarkin's response about how, well, like, no, I trust you, but it's your comrades that I don't. That still makes sense. He's saying, yeah, you're okay, but, like, that doesn't mean I trust your Padawan or any, right? And then, yeah, you could have, like, Anakin maybe start to be like, oh, well, and then he kind of realizes, and he's like, oh, you lack faith in the Jedi, like, period, kind of thing. And then it goes into the conversation. But I kind of wouldn't want to do the same thing over again of just having, like, Ahsoka reacting to the conversation. So maybe she doesn't, like, overhear the first part, but maybe she overhears the latter part. But then we have the question, okay, what's she doing that would have her far enough away from them at the start and then closer to them as the conversation continues? Maybe she volunteers to scout ahead.
Yeah,
and that's why Anakin is more relaxed. Because again, she's trying to be like, oh yes, I am confident and capable, right?
Yeah.
And so then she's like, oh, I'll scout ahead. And then that kind of draws attention to her, which kind of prompts the conversation to start.
Yep, that makes sense.
Aha!
Wow.
Do we have it that she like kind of runs ahead, and then maybe we have like Anakin actually say her name and she hears that, and so then she starts to like, but then she realizes he's not like calling her. She realizes they're talking about her, and so then she kind of slows down and like hears them clearly. So what point do we want her coming into the conversation?
Probably the you lack faith in the Jedi part.
I mean, we could have her come in as, because he says you lack faith in the Jedi, and then I find their tactics ineffective, and we could have her start kind of overhearing at the Jedi code prevents them from going far enough to achieve victory, because that's the major part that comes up later. And then, yeah, Anakin is like, no, you haven't defended me. And, I also found that we sometimes fall short of victory because of our methods. And then, yeah, she kind of reacts with that. She reacts with surprise to that. And then they kind of, finish their agreement, and then she looks up and she sees the exit, and then she calls back, oh, I found the exit.
I think I found a way out.
What do you see, Snips?
The coast is clear.
Stupidest moment ever.
Yep.
Tell me, where did those droids come from?
Well,
that she didn't see them?
She didn't even really look around. She just looked in front of her. So they could have literally just been standing right next to her. And she couldn't bother to turn her head, so she didn't see them. So stupid.
I'm curious how this scene plays out. Oh, she gets a moment to showboat. I should have known.
Time for plan B.
There's a plan B?
So would we keep Ahsoka in front, still doing her scouting?
What if we had it that she does see the droids, and she's like, they're guarding the tunnel entrance, and then Anakin's like, oh dang, they must have like figured it out, and then Tarkin's like, oh, the plan's been compromised, and he's like, okay, time for the backup plan. And then
I wouldn't have Tarkin say, there's a plan B?
Yeah, no, I'd cut that.
Be stupid.
For a guy who's all about strategy, you'd think he would understand backup plans.
Exactly. If they didn't have a backup plan, that would be a moment for him to be like, what?
But then, yeah, so I would have Anakin be like, oh, time for plan B. And then he grins at Ahsoka. Ahsoka grins back at him, maybe. And then you have a shot from outside the fuel line there. And I'd have it so that the droid, like, the B1 droids that are on either side of the thing aren't like she only cracks it open, right? So, like, they didn't notice. And then all of a sudden, her and Anakin explode out of the top there and cut them down. And then they're like, go, 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 right? And so then everybody else climbs out. And then, like the camera pans up and you can see all the other droids there. So then Anakin and Ahsoka are holding off their fire while the others get to cover. And then Anakin tells her to go. She goes. Right? Because as it is right now, Ahsoka just like leaves him there, and then he hangs back for another like half minute before going. Then I'd have Tarkin ask, okay, what is plan B?
Sorry I'm late. How nice of you to join us.
The ship is surrounded.
Thanks, Captain Obvious! Why is she saying what they already know?
Yeah, somebody boot her into the line of fire, please.
Full forward assault and take that vessel.
We may have a bigger problem. Those turrets. If we don't take them out, they will use them to destroy the shuttle and prevent our escape.
Which is precisely why we should get aboard that shuttle and use the weapon systems to decimate those droids.
Whatever we're gonna do, we better do it fast.
I feel like they're just making Tarkin stupid here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what the heck?
The cannons will blow up the shuttle if we get on it. Yeah, which is why we have to get on it, so that we can shoot the droids. The cannons will shoot the shuttle.
Why?
Because they want to make Tarkin look bad, so they have him yelling stupid things at a Jedi, and the Jedi's like, no, duh, stop being stupid.
I hate this show.
I would cut the stupid, sorry I'm late, how nice of you to join us. Because I just hate it when they're constantly dumping on each other. I wouldn't be against having some form of banter there or something, like, or like friendly back and forth, but I'd want it to be an actually friendly back and forth or banter or something, not this constant dumping on each other.
Yeah, no, they don't understand banter at all.
Sorry, I've already ranted about this several times in the script I'm writing. I'm literally thinking I might have to cut out some of my rants because it bugs me so much. Okay, so some sort of friendly back and forth between Anakin and Obi-Wan. And then we don't have Ahsoka say the obvious just so that she has something to say. Maybe have a bit of a three-way banter. Like she says something and then Obi-Wan says something and then Anakin says something or whatever. Like just really short and snappy, but like each of them gets a thing to say, but it's actually friendly banter. And then instead of having Tarkin lose his mind, because he's like, oh, we need to launch a full forward assault. Dude,
Yeah,
there's like
literal
10
suicide.
10 cannons, 50 droids, and like 10 of us? Are you stupid?
I was surprised Ahsoka didn't say in this moment, suicide is not the Jedi way.
Well, he's not a Jedi, so...
But he's talking to Jedi, so trying to
fair
order
enough.
around
It's
Jedi.
like,
So
if you want to, but suicide's not the Jedi way.
there you go.
I would have them kind of like, instead of someone suggesting something stupid and then the other person shoots it down, I would have him suggest something that could possibly work, but then Obi-Wan counters with something that could possibly work. Or he responds with like, well, no, that won't work because of those turrets or whatever, right? But like, it's not oh, here's a stupid plan. Well, that's a stupid plan. It's here's a probable plan, and he's like, but here's a problem with that plan. And then Tarkin counters instead of with, well, we need to do my plan. He kind of like adjusts his plan, and then Anakin's like, well, whatever we're gonna do, we better do it fast. Maybe, do we want to have maybe Ahsoka notice the incoming biker droid? No, not biker droid, hover droids? The droids on the little pogo stick things in the air.
Pogo stick.
They look like pogo stick things in the air.
Okay. I would keep it as Anakin.
So then I guess we kind of have Ahsoka quiet through that. It's just, she has a little bit of banter with them, and then it's Tarkin, Obi-Wan, Tarkin, Anakin.
Yeah. I mean, like, she doesn't always have to be saying something.
But I like this shot. I do like that shot. Like, I love how they're giving Evan, like, some moments to be cool before he dies.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ahsoka doesn't really have, other than her Captain Obvious moment, which I guess was all they could figure out to give her. And I mean, like, she does fight with the rest of them, but like, she shockingly doesn't get any showboaty moments. Those are actually like given to Anakin and Evan.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
Sometimes they give it a rest with her. Oh no! Nobody cares.
This landscape is almost impossible to cross. How are we going to get to the rendezvous point?
That is the trap of the Citadel. It was designed so it would be almost impossible for fugitives to get off the surface.
How lucky we're not just any fugitives.
I hope you're right.
I know they want to go for the like dramatic ending, but that's just rehashing what we already know. And then we already know the Citadel was designed to be able to contain Jedi. So then Anakin being like, well, we're not just any fugitives. It's like, you're exactly the kind of fugitive they would expect, which is why they've made it so difficult to escape.
Yeah. Also, I find it weird that you don't even see Ahsoka in the frame for that ending.
Literally, her last line in this episode was
Captain Obvious.
3 minutes ago, and then she gets a little bit of screen time. I think she reacts when Echo dies. Does she react when Echo dies?
Nope.
No, we see. Yeah, she doesn't react much. She's just kind of helping up R2, and she looks serious. Like, she's in the background. She really cares about the clones, guys.
Oh yeah, super duper.
That's why you can, we get a chance to like really see her reaction the way that we do with Rex and Anakin and Evan Peel, the guy who dies in like less than 30 minutes from now. Because we get Anakin front, like, he's front and center. She should be front and center in this shot. Why are we getting his reaction front and center when he's only just been introduced just to be fridged in the next episode?
Yeah.
Or am I using that? Fridging is when you kill a character off, isn't it? Or am I character exists for the sole purpose of being killed?
Right, yeah, basically. He just exists to pass off the codes to Ahsoka that she can be even more extra special.
But we get his reaction front and center. Not that it looks any different than his face at any other moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But like, again, she's basically the same. She's just kind of in the background with this like sort of a sad face. Like, it's not really a pronounced reaction. Well, I guess like you could say the same about Anakin, I suppose. Yeah, Anakin's not like grieving here. He's just kind of serious. But yeah, the fact that we get Rex, we get Anakin, and then we get Evan Peel instead of Ahsoka. Why? Was it super necessary to have her picking up R2 in the background? You couldn't have had a random clone doing that, or Evan Peel doing that?
I don't think I'd have Evan Peel doing that, but I mean, like, it'd be fine if a clone did it.
Like, R2 could just pick himself up. He does that all the time.
Yeah.
I hate this show.
So do we want to give her something in that final scene, or do we not care?
I think in the finals, like the final scene, yeah. Well, first of all, I would put her in Evan Peel's place so we can actually get a reaction shot for her when Echo dies. And then, yeah, for the final shot, Rex, I think it's Rex, says the landscape's almost impossible to cross. How are we going to get to the Citadel? And then, sorry, how are we going to get to the rendezvous point? Obi-Wan says, that is the trap of the Citadel. You've been told this already, but I'm going to repeat it so we can have a dramatic ending. And Anakin's like, well, I'm going to say something stupid. Then we'll have our dramatic ending. So I think it's really just like those last few sentences that are the problem.
Maybe
like, okay, what do we
after Rex says his line about this landscape is almost impossible to cross. I don't know. We can go one of two ways. Either we can have Ahsoka still doing the yes, I am dependable, I am confident act, or she's kind of
maybe
back
Echo's
into
death
a doubt.
kind of shaken her.
I was gonna say that maybe she's kind of shaken by that, and I don't know, maybe Anakin sees that and he puts a hand on her shoulder and he tells Rex, like, hey, we'll find a way through. And he's kind of subtly saying it to her as well.
We could do that, or we could have, like, Rex says this landscape is almost impossible to cross, and then Ahsoka asks, well, how are we going to get to the rendezvous point? And then Anakin is like, hey, we'll find a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
And I think that's a perfectly good line to end that on, right? Like, hey, we'll find a way. And then you get your dramatic pan out. Because, like, as it is, I mean, like, I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Because they, you know, like, with the 3 acts you've got going on here, having the second act kind of end on this, like, uncertain note.
Yeah.
Is in a way, like, better, because currently it ends with Obi-Wan being like, I hope you're right. Or does Rex say that? Who says that? Somebody says that. Somebody says, I hope you're right.
I hope you're right.
Does that make sense for Evan Peel to say? We're not just any fugitives. I hope you're right.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Are you a Jedi? You realize you're a Jedi, right? Because I think that's kind of what Anakin's implying there.
He's having an identity crisis.
Because it can be taken two ways. Either Anakin's saying like, oh, well, we're Jedi, you know, which is stupid because the Citadel was created to prevent Jedi from escaping. Or he could be saying like, we're not just any Jedi. Look at us. We're, you know, the good Jedi. So it's either really stupid or super egotistical. There's so many moments like this in TCW where it's like, even if I think up an alternative interpretation, it still looks bad. Maybe if Tarkin would be a perfect person. Tarkin would be the perfect person to say, I hope you're right.
Oh yeah, good point.
Why didn't they give that line to Tarkin? He's right there! He's right there! Okay, so yeah, there we go. Tarkin says, I hope you're right. And then we end on an uncertain note.
Dun, dun, dun! So that was Season 3, Episode 19, Counterattack. We had Ahsoka learn that Anakin shares some of her doubts about the Jedi, and we showcased how she handles working with an unlikable ally. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop us a like, share with your friends, and consider subscribing so you don't miss future installments. As always, comment below letting us know what you think of our rewrites and what you would do differently. We'd appreciate any support you are willing and able to offer via Super Thanks or on Patreon, where we have plenty of exclusive content waiting for you. Next up, we'll be tackling Season 3, Episode 20, Citadel Rescue, so be sure to join us for that.